Am I blurry? I wonder. Maybe not. Good morning, everybody. Let's see. Let me try and share this that I never share with anyone. I'm coming back, you guys. Hey Keisha, I love your hair. Okay, I wanted to do a quick video today because I haven't done one this week, just to let you all know some things that have been taking place since I did the last week's posts and videos about depression. So the Confessions of a Lady, as you all know, is a non-profit organization where we speak out against domestic violence and abuse, concentrating on those girls from ages 7 and up who have been a product of molestation or rape. Yeah, it's like a mouthful. From there, and since I've done the videos, I've had a couple people in my inbox, a couple people asked to talk to me about, you know, the things they're going through because they've never told their story. Hey, William, excuse me, because they never told their story. Hey, Tasha, I miss you already. And as I was having a conversation with someone on yesterday, have you ever been around somebody and you know that there's more to their story, but because you all have just met one another, you know it's going to take some time to build trust between each other? Well, that's the conversation I had with the young lady on yesterday. She had been in a situation, and it's like I was talking to her and I was sharing with her the organization. I was just talking and every time I would mention a certain part of my particular story, she would her body posture would kind of go in a slumping mode. And I told her, and I said, hey, look, when you're ready, I know that you'll talk. I know this is new to you and this, that, and the fifth. And so a couple of weeks, maybe 2 months have now gone past that she and I have had interaction with one another, and she finally decided, because I'm getting ready to launch a new project, and I was role playing with her some of the things that I'm going to be discussing on that within the Confessions of a Lady. And so she began to tell me her story, and she said, Victoria, I'm not sure if I was actually molested or not. And I'm like, well, go ahead, share with me your story. And she said, well, I am from Nigeria. And being there, my mother and my dad, they were married and they got a divorce, and she went back home. Well, because she became ill, her mother found someone who would bring them back to the States. And she said he had a son and a friend. At this time, she was 4 years old when the son began to fondle with her. She was 4 years old when the son began to fondle with her. And she said because she was so young, she didn't really know what was going on. She can remember the guy, the boy, his guy now, the boy and the friend looking to try to see if it was in. And she was said because it wasn't intercourse, she was not sure if it was molestation or if it was rape. And she said, well, it went on, her mother and this guy, they lived across the hall from each other, and it went on for several years. And I'm like, well, because it's not a family member, it's not molestation, but it's for sure rape. She said, well, after about a year or so, the guy, the little boy, dad found out. Here's where I went from 0 to 100 and was irate. She began to say that after the son got a whooping, the dad made her perform oral sex on her. Right. So she went from being tormented with the son to being tormented with now the dad. So I wanted to let you all know that you are not alone. And sometimes when we are young, we put in our mind that these things that did not happen to us because we are afraid of what people may say. So So it went on, the conversation went on, and I asked her, and she began to cry. And she said, I don't know where these tears are coming from. And I began to share with her, if these are things that you have never spoken about, or these are things that you have never dealt with, and you're just covering them up, you need to seek help. And I was like, you may not be in a state of depression right now. I was like, but you have several jobs. Not one, not two, not three, plus you go to school. I was like, so unbeknownst, you have all these jobs because you never want to feel a sense of that you don't have because of what happened to you when you were a child. I told her, I'm not saying that you need to go off and get on medication. I'm not saying that you need to go off and be committed to a hospital because you're not crazy, but you need to deal with those emotions. And I was like, you would be amazed. I said, I personally will sit in a room, and statistics say that 1 in 6 guys by the time of 18 and 1 in 4 girls by the time of 18 will be sexually assaulted. I said, so these are just cases that have been reported. Cases that have been reported. And I said, it's not okay, but it's okay to talk about it. I was like, because you never know, telling your story will help someone else. Because sometimes we think that because it happened, we were so young that it didn't happen, that we just had a vivid imagination, and that, you know, we just go on with life as if things never happened. But now, she went on to share with me what all her friends were 10 and 11 and 14 and 15 were having their first kiss. She's thinking, well, I've already done that. I didn't have that intimate moment because it was taken from me at such a young age. And then she went on to say, because the activity that she had to perform was oral sex, when she got with men, it was a ring of anything goes. It was a ring of, oh, I know how to do this because I've been doing this literally since I was 4 years old. And so I told her, hey, Diane, that it's okay. That it's definitely okay for you to experience these feelings. And it's amazing. And I just challenge you all to have a conversation with people today outside of your norm, and pick up on and look for those context clues and that body language where people are doing, where they say their body says that they want to talk about more, but they don't. But don't push people into a place of isolation, or don't push people to where they feel that they become depressed, but encourage people to talk. I encourage my daughter to talk to me all the time. She don't like to, but I will never make her or want her to feel that she can't come to me and have a conversation with me because she's afraid that I'm going to judge her. I remember when Lady was maybe 2 or 3 years old, and I was getting ready to give her a whooping, and me sitting on the floor and explaining to her why she was going to get this whooping, but not to feel like I was a reign over her. Because sometimes we forget that we were once children when we become adults, and it's like you don't understand. So I just want to encourage you all and share with you guys that if you have ever been in these situations, that you are not alone. I used to think that my personal situation was worse than everybody else's, but the more and more I talk to people about the things that have happened to me, I realize that there's literally somebody out there a lot worse than me, and we just need to stop making these conversations about domestic violence, about molestation, about rape seem so taboo, but because unfortunately it's not. It happens every day. Every 9 seconds, someone becomes a product of domestic violence. 1 in 4 girls are a product of some kind of sexual assault before the age of 18. And I'm very sure that it's probably a lot more than that. But again, these are cases where people are afraid to talk about. Who would have ever thought? I knew that there was something off and deeper into this particular female, but I never knew, or I never would have guessed that it was at the age of 4 that she was sexually assaulted. At 4 years old, you're barely knowing how to tie your shoe. You're off in pre-K. You should be learning how to color inside the lines, but she was off having to give oral sex to who her mother entrusted. Hey, Shawnee. So I want to encourage you all to have those conversations with your children early on and build that line of communication, because it's much needed. And I'm sure that her story is deeper, and she's agreed to talk live about it because she feels that her story will help other people. In the comments of this video, there is a bit.ly from the videos that I did on last week for you to get a free ebook for 10 ways to cope with depression. These are the 10 ways that have helped me along the way when dealing with depression to cope with, and I shared them in the video just so that you can have something tangible. If you want to print them out and actually use them, you can. It'll send you to opt into our newsletter, and you will receive a link for the actual, or excuse me, a download PDF for you to download the 10 ways of coping of how I did it. So as always, I wanted to encourage you all to have open lines of communication, to know that everything that you've gone through was better for your purpose, and it's better for you for who you are today. Though it may not seem like it, it has been. Bye.